Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Delaware Camera is your #1 spot for all your camera needs, education, accessories, printing, and more. Located at 2635 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. Visit cameraspot.com.
True believers, welcome to Tuesday Tech Talks. I am Mark, and I'm here with my coworker Dean. Say hey, Dean.
Hello.
Dean's going to talk about a new camera that came out today once we get to that, but I'm going to go through some housekeeping first. So this past Saturday was our Customer Appreciation Day. A lot of people came. It was a good time. We had demos. We had a lighting demo. We had a macro demo. We had a film developing demo in 2022. It's pretty cool. You can see it on our Instagram page if you want to go check that out. You recorded that, right, Dean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dean was on the camera for that. But it was a pretty fun day. It was cool. I mean, I was kind of blown away by the amount of people that came. So I appreciate it, and thank you to all of you, because I appreciate you, because I appreciate customers, because that's what it was about. So anyway. So customer appreciation, I went through that. We have a class. Normally we don't have classes during our Christmas season, but Canon graciously offered to do a class for us. So we're gonna have a class December 22nd, what to shoot when there's nothing to shoot. It's an inspiration class. So it's on Zoom. If you go to our website, I'm a professional, trust me. If you go to our website, there's a button there for classes, and you can click there and sign up for it. It's free. It's on Thursday, December 22nd, and it's what to shoot when there's nothing to shoot. So if you're looking for inspiration and what to shoot, this is a great class for that. We did it once before, and we're going to do it again, probably, because it's a pretty cool class. So today, the A7R5 comes out. A couple days ago, I let Dean take it out, and he's going to give us some quick things about it.
Yeah, so
stuff.
Visual, first thing, is the new 5-axis monitor? Something like that. Pretty much more axes than they've ever had. That's probably the biggest hype about this camera, is the new monitor system with the additional flip out. You can view it straight on, as well as the fully articulating screen combined with that regular tilt out screen is a huge plus for some people. And with this being part of the R series, typically focused on video, you have a camera with that same 61 megapixel sensor you got in the R4, the biggest full frame sensor. Now you have the addition of 8K video, 10-bit video is, the first big step is 10-bit video in this camera, and then that 8K video. So 8K 24 is the cap for this camera, and fun fact, at the 200 megapixel or megabyte bit rate, you can actually record 8K 24 on a V30 card. Surprisingly, I don't recommend it. Most of the video settings in this camera, I can't look at it any harder, Will. Most of the video settings in this camera actually do require a V60 card, especially all the S&Q modes. You can get up to 120 FPS in S&Q mode for HD, but when it comes to the 4K resolutions, you are capped out at 60, unlike the S line of Sony's, where those get up to 4K.
What card does that take?
So this takes regular SD cards. It has dual SD card slots, as well as CF Express Type A cards. And for one of the few times, I usually tell people, like, hey, if you can record everything on a V60 card and you don't need to record integrated video codecs, then don't invest in a card that you're not going to use for its full potential. This is a camera that will really utilize that full potential. Most of the 8K modes, most of the SI modes for the 4K 60 are going to require a CF Express Type A card. Those are actual frame rates that are going to happen in this camera. So if you are planning to utilize this camera for a lot of video, then you will have to invest in some higher speed cards.
Okay. So you mainly tested on video, or did you do any picture taking with it?
I did not. I wasn't able to do any picture testing yet. I might be able to soon at a college basketball game with some fast-paced motion, because I really want to test that same sensor that we got in the R4, see if there's any major improvements. As far as I can tell, I mean, having the 10 FPS burst for photos is really phenomenal for a full frame camera. You know, the fact that it's the same FPS burst as like the A7S III, which is a 12 megapixel camera, that's pretty impressive that they fit all in there. The body, the ergonomics are pretty much the same as like the A7 IV, a little bit thicker on the base side. So if you have thicker hands and you're using those big G Master lenses, that is something to consider if you have that one. Yeah, if you're using those large, awesome, you know, name brand Sony G Master lenses, you know, definitely something to consider as they've gone with this bigger body construction. It's a little bit, yeah, pretty much an in-between of the A1 and like the A7 IV.
So what'd you say is like the best thing about the A7R5 that you've come across so far?
For me, I would say this is kind of, I guess, one way to put it, and one way I was thinking about it this morning is this is pretty much like an A7 IV on steroids. Like every single aspect of it, the sensor is literally almost doubled. Still have similar, you know, frame rate in terms of, well, frame rate in terms of photo, like burst rates. The video specs are completely, you know, blowing out of the water. With that larger sensor, it definitely is not, I would say, a sports focused camera. With the larger sensor, you're gonna get a lot of distortion and a lot of high speed moving videos. This is definitely more of like a documentary kind of camera. People who do in studio kind of work, or like a lot of interview work, and then combine it with photo work as well. People who can, you know, do a video and then take it off a tripod, do some BTS pictures. Like this is definitely one of those cameras that can really do everything really well. And like, biggest way I can compare this is A7 IV on steroids.
Okay, cool. We have a bunch of these in stock, or not a bunch, we have a few. So if people are looking for that.
Minus one.
Minus one. But people are looking for them. We've got them in stock now. They came out today, so we can finally sell them. So we're pretty excited about that. So thank you, Dean, for doing that. We have Lindsay DeDario coming up. And we are also gonna pull the winner of our Nanlite Pavo tube out of this little bowl here. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in a few. Okay, this is the first Tuesday of the month? It is, right? First Tuesday of the month is What's in Your Bag, and this month we have Lindsay DeDario on. Say hey, Lindsay. Hey. She's gonna tell us about what's in her bag. Lindsay is a wedding photographer, a photojournalist, and a bunch of other things as well. But today we're gonna focus on photojournalism, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, who do you work for, or can you say that?
Sure, yeah, usually Reuters.
Okay.
Yep.
So, let's say you've got to cover something. What's in your bag?
Well, boy, does that vary.
Okay.
So, obviously, with journalism assignments, the majority of what I'm photographing is I do a lot of social justice stuff, a lot of weather here in Buffalo.
Okay.
So ice, snow, all of that good stuff. Those are like probably my two main things, and then a myriad of other.
Did you come down to Hamburg last snowstorm?
I sure did, yeah.
Yes.
I sure did. Yeah. South Buffalo, Hamburg. I was out in the snow. I did not bring my snowshoes today, however. They are not in the bag. Technically, they aren't on my feet, but that is certainly part of my arsenal
Awesome.
a lot of the time.
Very cool.
So yeah, unfortunately for you all, there's not going to be a lot of camera gear in this bag.
It's all good. It's all good.
For journalism, you know, you need to have your gear out. If it's in the bag, I'm not using it.
Okay.
The moment's passed.
Yes.
So there are some lenses in the bag. You'll notice this giant lens. I don't know if I can see that with this camera, but okay, cool. So I used to use the Peak Design capture clip with the lens attachment. Since the Canon R series came out, they do not have an R series lens attachment. So I used to be able to clip that right onto my straps, and if you're a Nikon or Sony shooter, you would be able to do that, and then I would have just access to that third lens.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't. So it goes in the water bottle holder instead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Looks like a cup.
It is not. However, another important thing to have in your bag is a water bottle. So
Yes.
we will start with that. Water bottle. Ugh. Campus Wheelworks, shout out.
Yes.
And sometimes you have a water bottle that is filled with a solution for cleaning your eyes, which is another fun thing about photojournalism. Is sometimes you are at protests and things where people are getting pepper sprayed, and as much as you try to avoid those situations, sometimes it just lingers in the air and you get hit. So always good to have something to clean your eyes with. On that same note, sometimes I have a gas mask in this bag.
Really?
I didn't bring one today, but yeah, that's something we do.
We've never thought of
sometimes.
that, a gas mask in a
I
camera
figured
bag.
I was gonna blow your minds with what's in my bag. You thought, oh, this is a camera store, we're gonna talk about camera gear. No.
Order some gas masks, Bill.
This is the 70-200 2.8 R series IS beautiful lens. This is probably my go-to. I'd probably take more photos with this lens than anything else. So there's that. I usually carry a 50 buried in my bag somewhere just in case there's some crazy emergency and I drop all my gear. There's just like one more lingering around. It's small, it's light, and it is in here. Also a hat. A lot of times with snowstorms, you know, you need gear.
Yes.
So actually, maybe I'll start in the front pocket. Raincoat. Sometimes it rains and you get wet, and you know what? You don't get to go home. It's not a rain or shine reschedule situation.
Yeah.
You've got to be out there. So I always keep a raincoat handy. There's that. Next, that 50 I told you about. So still fairly quick access, but tucked away, because I pretty much never use it. It's mostly for emergencies. This top little pocket here, very important because sometimes these days are long. We have snacks. So, you know, granola bars and fruit bars, high fat, high calorie stuff is best to keep you warm and to keep you energized, because you might go out thinking I'm going to be out for a few hours, and you know, 12 hours later you're marching with protesters down a highway. So you just really don't know what you're getting into. All right, next. An insulation layer, very important. Again, you just don't know how long you're going to be out and what the elements are going to be. You might start out at the beginning of the day, it's gorgeous out, and next thing you know, it's 11 p.m. and you're freezing. So if it's going to be rainy, don't bring down. They're no good in the water.
Okay.
Down loses its insulation capabilities when it's wet. So a fleece is what I would have if that was the situation. Okay, med kit.
Med kit.
Yeah, super important. So if there's a situation of civil unrest and you get hurt and you need supplies, or somebody else gets hurt, you know, it's always great to have. I won't go through everything that's in here, but you can kind of imagine, you know, what goes in a med kit.
Yeah.
What's in the med kit?
Next on Tech Talk Tuesdays.
There. All right, gloves. So again, I'm photographing blizzards sometimes, and you need gloves. But it's really hard to shoot in these big old mittens, right? And my hands get cold, so I do like a mitten.
Yeah.
So typically I will have a pair of liner gloves that I'll be wearing, and then keep these little guys strapped around my wrist. So I just flip these off, take my pictures. When the moment happens, throw these back on so my hands stay nice and toasty. I actually bring 2 sets because sometimes they get wet and then they're not warm anymore. Highly recommend wool. Wool is naturally wicking and it doesn't get stinky, so that is very important. On the same note, extra socks. Yeah, again, wool. If your feet get wet, I'm telling you, you need extra socks. They weigh nothing. Just throw them in your bag. Oh, and then at the very bottom for your emergency chargers and whatever in case you run out of juice. I've also got in here, every once in a while, I also do video.
Okay. And
sometimes there's not time to shoot some photos and then shoot some videos because the moment's happening and you got to do it both at the same time. So a lot of times in those situations, I will use a hot shoe mount with the GoPro on top. Or even I have one for my cell phone too. So this one, same thing, goes right into the hot shoe, clamp your phone in there.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can record, and even for interviews, and especially during COVID, when a lot of our writers were not traveling and I was doing a lot of the interviews, to be able to record and not have to take notes or worry about my phone, just like have it on top of the camera. And also because when you're asking someone questions, you want to be able to look at them and then let them speak, but that's when I'm supposed to be taking the pictures. So it was complicated, and this really helped me to record and remember everything that happened. So yeah, that's what's in there. In the back pocket is my laptop. Oh wait, I should talk about this bag because you're probably like, that's not a camera bag.
Yeah, it's an osprey. Is that what it is?
It is an osprey. It's a hiking bag. I do a ton of hiking and outdoor adventure stuff, and for me, a lot of the camera bags are really big and bulky for my frame, and having something that fits me really well, a women's specific, made for long days of walking around bag is clutch. And so, yeah, I just use this. It has tons of pockets, and it's very comfortable for me to wear. Okay. I know there are some camera bags that are made for this sort of thing, but yeah, this is so easy. And honestly, even when did I bring it in? I did not. Even when I am traveling, a lot of times I'll just use an insert for camera stuff. Yeah. And toss that in here, and then everything is padded, and this is just the shell with the camera insert.
Is there a camera in there somewhere?
Nope. No, I have another bag down here to everybody. This is called What's in Your Bag. Okay. The camera's not in the bag, Mark. In the front is all this other stuff that I need quick access to. So this is a waterproof pouch where I will keep my cell phone and also notepad, pencil. Sometimes if I'm taking notes, people's names, whatever, or just taking notes on what people are saying, I don't want to look like I'm on my phone. And I feel like a notebook, people don't think I'm just like checking Instagram. They'll know,
That makes sense.
They'll know I'm just taking notes. So sometimes I prefer that. In this one, we've got, let's see, a lens cloth. We've got chapstick, ideally one with SPF. Let's see, hand sanitizer, hair tie. This is really important. Again, in a civil unrest situation and someone's mad at you, you don't want them pulling your hair. So braid that up, put it in a bun, get it out of the way.
Will, you need that? Your beard.
All right. And then in these little pouches down at the bottom, I've got Advil, another lens cloth. Like, just put a lens cloth in every one of your pockets. You never know. And wallet, keys, that sort of thing. Sometimes a good idea to separate some money into some other place on your body in case your stuff gets stolen and not totally up the creek.
Yeah.
Or creek.
The creek, yes.
Depending on how you say it. All right, so we'll put that away.
So is that bag always ready to go? Like, are you like, is that bag like sitting by the door and ready to go when you get the call?
To some degree, yes. Okay. Some things I gotta stuff in there at the last second.
Okay.
But
all right.
So speaking of inserts, this is exactly what this bag is. So sometimes I'll just throw this in the car and then I put the cameras on my straps so they don't need to be in a bag that's easy to carry. So I shoot with the R5.
Okay.
Finally, camera talk, right?
Yes.
This is a 100 to 400. This I use for either situations where I just can't physically get close. Sometimes a press conference or something like that, and I am stuffed way in the back. This lets me get right up on people without them knowing. And on a similar note, sometimes it's a really sensitive situation and you just don't want to be all up in people's face.
Yeah.
And so this allows me to kind of work the periphery, go like a fly on the wall, and still take really intimate close shots. My editor always says that grief is tight, and if I start taking pictures with my wide angle lens, he gets upset. So in sad situations,
grief is tight.
Yeah, this is the lens that comes out, so you can really capture all of that emotion.
Yeah.
So I use a dual holster. No, sorry, holster is the wrong word. One of these guys. The Hold Fast Moneymaker. So that I can have, this is a very unpopular choice for photojournalists actually. But I love having something that's clean and simple and 2 cameras at my hip at all times.
So what are they using? Like the those ones you hook on your belt?
They use the ones that come with the cameras, and they have like 100 cameras like slung all over their bodies. It's so sloppy. Like the Canon brand, they love them, and they are actually great straps. They truly are. But yeah, it's like a hot mess. They're like swinging all over the place, and I like this. It stays like nice and taut.
Yeah, I use a Black Rapid one, which is like the predecessor of that. And that's perfect for like weddings and stuff.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And I bought it, more for weddings, but I actually do use it for my journalism work as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just nice and easy and sleek. The only hang up with these is that they do look like they could be carrying a gun.
Yes.
Which I honestly didn't really think, like you see it and you're like, oh, that looks badass, but can I say that? Sorry.
Trust me, you're no percent today.
I definitely thought about that when wearing my Black Rapid because it kind of looks like that. So like if I walk into a store, like going from place to place in the wedding, like I take it off because I'm like, I don't want anyone to suspect anything from me,
100%. So I actually had a situation where I was at a protest. There were a bunch of speeches going on, so I was just kind of hanging out. It was a little chilly. I threw my jacket over top. So I'm wearing this. And only like the little leather straps hanging out, and it's a long coat, so my cameras were covered. And so, I looked like I could be just an undercover police officer or just somebody carrying a gun. And in a situation that is like very sensitive to violence, it's like literally what, the whole protest is about. Not cool to be looking like you're packing. So I noticed at some point I was standing up on a balcony of a church, and I see some people like pointing up at me, like kind of aggressively, and I'm noticing more and more people looking at me and pointing at me. What on earth is going? Like looking behind me, like, oh, what am I missing? No, it was me. And so I'm realizing what's happening, and I'm like, camera's badge, and so somebody came up and they're like, oh my gosh, we thought, and explaining what they thought they were seeing.
Wow.
And I apologized profusely. So yeah, it's I'm second guessing this a little bit for certain scenarios, but it's generally my go-to.
Cool, very cool.
And then usually on my other hip is a wide angle. So, sometimes someone surprises you and you think they're coming in this door and they come in that door and you've just gotta get the moment, and a wide angle is amazing. So this is the 16 to 35 2.8. And this is the, the old model for the not R series lenses. So I use the handy dandy adapter, which works really awesome actually. And so that's usually what's on me.
Nice. Model what?
Oh, this body? Oh, this is a Mark IV. But yeah, usually I'm working with an R5.
So here's a quick question. So you work for Reuters. Do they call you up and they're like, come shoot this? Or is that how it works?
totally depends.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll say, hey, there's this thing going on that I think would be cool. Do you want me to cover it? A lot of times the answer will be like, it's a little too local for us.
Yeah.
Or like, news is slow. Like, yeah, cover it. Or I blow their minds and they're like, that's incredible. Yes, go do that.
Yeah.
You know, you just never know. A lot of times their clients will approach them and say, you know, we'd really love a photo of this thing that's happening. Do you have someone going out to cover that? And they'll call me and say, can you go cover that? And then sometimes we have long-term like stories that a writer is working on over the course of a long period of time, and I'll do a series of portraits and different events and things that are all related to the same story, and it's more of a long-term thing. So it really totally depends. Sometimes it's breaking news, you know, there's a shooting or a storm or something like that, and I just gotta go. And other times it's really research-based, and there's a lot of background stuff that has to happen, and lots of calls and emails and all that good stuff leading into it. But.
Very cool. That was awesome. That was an interesting what's in your bag. I don't think we'll ever get that stuff again.
Oh yeah. So Mark asked if I was going to be doing a wedding, what would be different? And,
Thank you, Will.
The answer to that question is lighting. Generally for news, you're not manipulating the light. And so you're, you know, no flashes and all of that stuff. Unless I'm doing like a portrait or, you know, something that's more of an editorial story where it's fine to have lighting, but generally you're not manipulating the scene. So for a wedding, I have this beautiful think tank roller bag.
SKB.
It's huge, so I'm going to put it back down. But that's where I keep all of my flashes and batteries and like a macro lens that I wouldn't usually use for a news story. Things like that are a little more specialized for weddings. But yeah. Very
cool. So, I mean, you would bring all this to a wedding too?
Yes. So I would photograph the majority of a wedding with a 70 to 200 and a 16 to 35, exact same. The 50 would get a lot more use at a wedding than it does on a news story. The 100 to 400 would not come out at a wedding unless I'm, for example, in a church where I've been resigned to the very back and I'm not allowed to wander around. That'll give me a few more options.
Okay.
But yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That was a great what's in your bag. Unless there's anything else, Will.
Shout out to Candace. The ladies are killing it.
So we have one more thing though. Before we end this. So this past Saturday, Nanlite was gracious enough. Shout out Ray Nason to come and table at our customer appreciation, and he brought one of these Pavo tubes as a door prize. So we're gonna draw the winner of that right now, and Lindsay's gonna do the honors. So let's shake this up.
Hold on, that's mine.
Good luck, everyone. And the winner is
who is it?
Lindsay. Thomas Shields. Yes.
Thomas Shields.
All right, Tom Shields.
We'll get a hold of Thomas Shields, and you can come pick up your Pavo tube. Thank you.
You are the one.
You are the winner. Is it this camera or that camera? You're the winner, Tom. Anyway, thank you, Lindsay, for coming on. You know, next week we're going to do a product review. Not sure what it is yet, but stay tuned. Come in next Tuesday and we'll have it here for you. So if you like this, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your kids, everybody, all about our show. This is our 40th episode and we're pretty proud of that. So until next week, have a good week. Thanks, Lindsay.
You got it.
Locally owned and operated for over 50 years, Delaware Camera is your #1 spot for all your camera needs: education, accessories, printing, and more. Located at 2635 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. Visit cameraspot.com.